See, this thing we call music, even in worldly terms, is given to the individual to find their way to silence, believe it or not. For without silence, what purpose does music have?
So music arises from silence. Does it lead back to silence?
It always does. You ring an instrument, you play an instrument, and it fades. The sound fades. It resounds, it resonates to fade. To fade, everything fades. Your life is here as a wave and it fades. Everything rises to fade. You live to die, pass on, disappear. You appear to disappear. And this is good. It's common sense. It's factually correct. And so just to play music is to miss the point of music. And you're playing music of self-indulgence for, let's say, at best, material recognition, fame and glory. It's not bad. It's a step on the path. Many great musicians move beyond that. And they move towards the greater music, the inner music, the spiritual music. And to get that, sometimes they have to be apart from others. Not always. They have to know what has been talked about recently, what the alone is. And for religious people say, then why someone like Jesus had to be alone? Oh, he was also in the group, but he had to be alone. See? To go on his way, he had to disappear. Why? See? When you listen to what he's saying, he could be a musician and saying these words, same words that I've quoted. What I have to say to you, you're not ready to hear. What I have to play to you, you're not ready to hear. What I have to write to you, you're not ready to read. The same thing. What may be said to be given from above is not always, say, welcome here. In the below. Right? In the below, the above, that means on the terrestrial plane. See? The plane of water and blood, life and death, the cemetery. So what must the individual do as a musician to hear the higher relative to music? Where is it? Is it classical music? No, it's not classical music. It doesn't. Classical musicians are not the happiest of musicians. So they're not the neurosis-free musicians. See? Right? They're not the enlightened musicians. They may be educated, but they're not the enlightened musicians. See? Enlightened musicians do not necessarily have to play Mozart and other composers. Enlightened musicians don't have to play anybody's music. They don't even have to play music, but they don't have to play anybody's music. See? Enlightened musicians, theoretically, to use that term, enlightened musicians are free to play music. Yeah. They are channels of sound, which is all one needs to be. Yeah. And not just structures and mental, sort of, I guess you might say, solutions, mental solutions, structures, compositions, mental solutions. They have a direct wire from the heart to the higher brains and higher. So they don't need anything. They just need an opportunity to express it. See? A chance to play. And you hear it. But it may not be what you like or what you you expect, but it may be whatever it is that comes from them, see, that is true, see, for them, and may be true for you. See. So the purpose of music is to get back to the spiritual. It's to go right into the center of the heart. So if you're hearing good emotional, and you're playing music, and you hear the emotions, say, well, good, you're limiting it to hear and what you like. Can you go deeper? Can you actually hear it from your heart? And what will happen if you hear, what do you hear from your heart? Good question. Most people don't want to know that much. They don't want to know that much about the musician, they don't want to know that much about music, they don't want to know that much at all. They want the entertainment, they have the entertainment, and say, okay, good night everybody, goodbye. That's enough for me. Let me get back to what I really like to do now. Comment?
So part of developing as a musician is knowing when not to play. And I'm wondering if there's
Well, you can't play when you're sleeping. Now, you're not supposed to be playing when you're sleeping, but you can play in your dreams, that's for sure.
So is there a spiritual practitioner equivalent to knowing when not to play or knowing when to lay out? Or
Well, you can be a musician and know when not to play and when to lay out. You can be in balance with yourself to be able to calculate that for yourself, measure it, or determine that for yourself. So there's no mystery there. Everyone has to do that. Now, when we're talking about what a person is doing to harm themselves while they're playing music, then that's another thing. See, that requires a whole different kind of, analysis. Because you find a lot of the musicians are in therapy. What in hell are you doing in therapy if you're playing music? Music is the highest therapy. People, kids, what's up with that? You play one right note properly and you're healed right there on the spot. Right? There's no twisting and bending of the, let's say, the emotions. There is none of that. You have musicians who are already twisted and bent out of shape from their relations. And the music doesn't fix it, because they're not playing the right music to fix it.
and does that require a guide in the same way that spiritual practice
It
does?
may, or an ear. See, so a lot of people have a musical ear, but they don't have the real musical ear. Because they have the musical ear, they can hear the tones and the pitches like, many can, but they don't hear what they need. If you can't hear what you really need for your healing, what good are your musical ears? Seems to me like they failed you if you can't heal yourself. What good is your music? You have to heal yourself with your music. That's why it's given. That's not like a personal viewpoint. Right. So,
Is memory part of the problem for musicians?
not enough or too much.
Well, it seems like a double-edged sword.
It's not enough in some cases and too much in other cases. Obviously. Overwhelmed by music. Okay. Yeah. Being overwhelmed by music. Yeah. A lot of people are overwhelmed by music.
So
And believing they have found the right music, but not really knowing that. Okay. Until they leave the body and then they hear the right music. Yes, I've heard the right music. And when you hear that music, there's no mistake about what it is. And then you wonder when you're hearing that music, how come I couldn't hear that when I was in my body? Well, you figure. The physical is not the only realm of music. This is the physical. There are much higher realms than this where music is something else. But it's all part of us. We're wired for it, but who cares about it?
is music that keeps the musician in a comfort zone the wrong music?
Not necessarily. It depends on whether or not that musician's karma is to be in a comfort zone as part of their healing and their step towards mastery, ultimate, let's say, mastery of the life form. Not just music. Music's easier to master than your life form. You find great musicians, geniuses who can't control their emotions, can't control their minds or their lower parts. They have no control over their dog. So that's not a master, that's a dog. Who plays music? Who's mastered by music then?
You've said in one of your books, those who play by the books are played by the books.
Obviously, and we have a lot of musicians who are absolutely played by the books, and they're okay with it, because they...
They play by the checkbooks, too.
You said it.
And so how does one get beyond that and keep music a vital part of their life?
How does one get beyond that?
Yeah.
How do you evolve to that point? Good question. Good luck. Who knows? It depends on what your wishes and your hopes and your dreams are. That's what that's about. Check your hopes, wishes, and dreams, because they may be happening, and they might be your nightmares. But know where they came from. You.